In the high-speed world of digital finance, there's this invisible battle being fought every single millisecond. And it's not a conflict between people, it's between algorithms. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and track these shadow bots and the new breed of AI detectives that are being built to hunt them down.
All right, let's just start with a number that should really grab your attention. Get this, $43 billion. That is the staggering amount the world is projected to lose from financial fraud by 2026. And look, we're not just talking about somebody stealing your credit card info. This is a systemic threat that demands a completely new kind of defense.
The whole game has changed. Think about the old way of catching fraud, right? It was all about static, if this then that rules. And they'd usually review transactions after the money was already gone. Well, today's fraud is way faster, it's smarter, and it's always evolving. It's a high-frequency, adaptive threat that makes those old methods look, well, completely obsolete.
So, we have to ask the obvious question. Why are the old systems failing so badly? And that brings us to what we're calling the outmatched system. Because in this new, crazy fast financial world, the traditional defenses are, to put it simply, completely outgunned.
So where exactly are the cracks in the old armor? Well, for starters, these systems are static. They just can't keep up with brand new types of attacks. Second, they're always playing catch-up, only spotting fraud after the damage is done. And maybe the biggest blind spot of all, they look at transactions one by one, which means they are completely blind to the sophisticated, coordinated attacks that modern fraud rings are launching every day. So, if the old system is broken, what's the fix? Well, the answer isn't just some minor upgrade. It's a whole new way of thinking. So let's meet the new sheriffs in town, the new AI detectives. Systems designed from the ground up to learn and adapt in real time. One of the key tools these new detectives have is something called behavioral analytics. Instead of just checking a transaction against a boring list of rules, the AI actually learns the unique digital fingerprint of a normal user. Their spending habits, where they are, the time of day. It kind of develops this gut feeling, this sense of rhythm, so it can spot something that feels wrong instantly. It's not just asking if a transaction follows the rules, it's asking if it feels right.
But spotting one weird transaction is only half the battle. Another incredibly powerful tool is the Graph Neural Network, or GNN. Now, instead of just seeing single transactions, GNNs map out the entire financial web. They connect the dots between accounts and devices that look totally unrelated, uncovering these organized fraud rings that would otherwise be completely invisible. It's like turning on the lights in a dark room. So, you're probably wondering, how do these AI detectives get so smart? Well, they don't just sit in a classroom studying old cases. No, they train in a simulated world. It's like an adversarial arena where they go head-to-head with an AI opponent designed to be the perfect digital criminal.
Which brings us to this really fascinating challenge, right? How on earth do you train an AI to catch an enemy that is also an AI? One that's constantly learning, adapting, and literally inventing new ways to attack the system.
The answer is this incredible technique called multi-agent reinforcement learning, or MARL. The best way to think about it is as a relentless, super high-speed game of cat and mouse. You have an attacker AI, and its only job is to find new, creative ways to steal money. And then you have a defender AI, and its only job is to stop it. They play against each other millions of times, constantly one-upping each other and forcing each other to evolve.
So here's how that training actually works. It's a simple but really powerful loop. First, the attacker AI tries some new way to cheat the system. Second, the defender AI does its best to stop it. And third, and this is the crucial part, both AIs learn from what just happened. This cycle repeats millions and millions of times, forcing both sides to get smarter and making sure the defender is ready for pretty much any attack before it ever happens in the real world.
Okay, but all of this power brings up a huge, huge issue: trust. We're building these incredibly complex AI systems to guard all our money. If we don't understand how they're making their decisions, can we really truly rely on them?
And this is the classic black box problem that you hear so much about. An AI can be amazingly accurate, but if it can't explain why it flagged a transaction, it creates this massive problem for transparency, for accountability. So the big question is, can we really hand over the keys to the global economy to a black box? And it's not just us asking this, regulators are on it too. More and more, financial institutions are actually required by law to justify the automated decisions they make. So if an AI freezes your account or blocks one of your transactions, that bank needs to be able to give you a clear reason that a human can actually understand.
This is where something called Explainable AI, or XAI, is a total game changer. XAI is basically a set of tools that forces the AI to show its work. It translates all those complex calculations into a simple, logical reason. So instead of just getting a red flag that says fraud, an analyst gets a clear explanation, like, hey, this transaction was flagged because of an unusually high amount combined with a new device and a high-risk merchant.
And this isn't just some nice idea, it's being built directly into the DNA of these systems through something called governance by design. What that means is specific AI techniques are mapped directly to compliance functions. So for example, while a deep learning model might handle the risk scoring, it's controlled by clear thresholds. And then explainable AI is used to make sure that model is accountable, and all of that is double-checked through regular audits.
So where is all this heading? Well, this constant technological arms race is really what's defining the next financial frontier, a future where security is proactive, it's intelligent, and it's always evolving.
And the research is already pushing into some pretty wild new territory. We're seeing things like federated learning. Now, this allows different banks to train one shared AI model without ever having to expose their private customer data. The ultimate goal here is to build a collaborative global defense system where intelligence about new threats is shared instantly.
The big takeaway here is this. The fight to protect our financial system isn't happening on trading floors or in bank vaults anymore. It's an invisible, silent war being fought in the milliseconds between transactions by autonomous AI sentinels that are working around the clock to protect us. Which leaves us with a final and I think pretty critical question. As we hand over more and more control to these autonomous agents, are we actually building a safer financial system, or are we creating something so complex and so fast that it's just impossible for us humans to manage when something inevitably goes wrong? The hunt for the shadow bots is definitely on, but the final chapter of this story is still unwritten.